Hey everyone, Mark Bushy here, man of real estate. You think you can't afford to buy a house right now? Let me show you why you can't afford not to buy a house. How would you like to get crazy returns on your investment? Over 200%? Doesn't seem possible? Stay tuned. Did over 200% return on your investment catch your attention? Well, what I'm going to do right now is go over some numbers, actual numbers on a house that I'm purchasing. So most people don't realize or don't know this, but I'm a realtor and I don't currently own my own house. I sold my lake place here a few years back, moved into town, and just never got around to buying my personal home here. We got a house under contract. We're moving in April here, and there's good and bad to the way the market is right now with the high interest rates here. So the rates are higher than what we're used to, and my payment's going to be a little higher than I would like to have. But the flip side is that houses are, not selling as well as they had in the last couple of years, and so sellers are giving incentives to buy the houses. In this case, I'm working with a builder, and a lot of the builders are offering some really great incentives. But not just builders. I've had deals with existing homes with sellers. That my buyers have gotten great, prices negotiated here as much as 10, 15, 20. I had a deal I was working on a couple of weeks ago here that we had knocked off $25,000 off the list price of the house. That's a little bit atypical, but it's not impossible. In my case, I have a builder here that's offering to give me over $20,000 of incentives to buy one of their existing homes. And we're going to use that money for a couple things. We're going to use it for the closing costs, and then the remainder of it we're going to use to knock off the price of the house. So what I want to go do here is talk about, first of all, the difference between renting and buying. And then I'm going to run actual numbers on the house that I'm buying and show you how I'm getting such a crazy return on my investment. So this is going to be fairly number intensive, fairly math intensive. We're going to put the numbers up on the screen here so you can follow along with us here. And I'm actually looking at my laptop as I'm doing this as well because I have a lot of information in front of me. So if I'm looking down, don't mind me. But a couple of things to talk about. Let's compare apples to oranges here, rent to buying. The place that I rent currently, I live in a 3-bedroom, 3-bath house in West Fargo. Nice neighborhood. It's a newer house. I think it's about 7 or 8 years old. My current rent on the house here is $17.25. Every year they keep bumping that up a little bit here. Well, when I called to give them notice and said that we're buying a house and we're going to end the lease, I just asked out of curiosity, today, if I were to go find the same house to go rent it as a new tenant here, new renter, what would the rent be? Well, the vacancy rates are crazy low. There's almost no houses available to rent, and they've been raising rents like crazy. This house today, if I was a new renter renting the same house, they said would be $2,300. So that's a drastic increase. That's about a 33% increase over what I'm currently paying. The house that I'm buying, after everything's been worked out with my interest rates, with the terms we have, the down payment, that kind of thing, my payment's going to be around $2,400. So there's a $100 difference there. But I'm going to show you here right now why I'm actually going to be making a ton of equity and getting a great return on my down payment here, and why that $100 difference actually in the end is going to be saving me money, not costing me more money. Okay, so I have a few numbers I'm going to throw at you here. And these are actual numbers from the house that I'm purchasing. I'm just going to be upfront and tell you everything about the numbers, the purchase price, the whole thing. So I'm buying a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 3-stall house. It's a brand new house over in Valley View. The builder is Thompson Homes. A lot of these builders are offering quite a few incentives right now. They have inventory sitting out there that they want to get sold. And so it's no secret they're offering this to the realtors and to our clients. And so I'm purchasing the house. The list price is at $358,000. But with the incentives, they're paying my closing costs, and I'm going to use the remainder of the money they're offering to pay down the purchase price. And so my new purchase price is going to be $342,000. So they're giving me an extra $16,000 to reduce the price. And that's going to leave me with a loan amount of, after a down payment, I'm putting a 5% down payment. So the 5% down payment is $17,000. And my actual loan amount is going to be $325,000. So with that, calculating this with my lender, we have a couple different things. So one side we have what's called PITI, or I call it PITI. PITI is principal and interest, and the tax and insurance. So your property taxes and the insurance on the home, that's your PITI. And then we also have what's called PMI, or mortgage insurance. And so if you purchase a home with less than 20% down, they're going to require that you have mortgage insurance. And that's basically a safety net for the lender. If you default in your loan, that's going to help them out there. So that cost is based on the purchase price of the home and some other factors. And so the PITI and the PMI combined is about $2,400 on this house. And as I mentioned, the rent on my place currently is $1,725. But for me to go rent right now to get a house that's comparable would be $2,300 from the same company. So I'm paying about $100 more with my mortgage payments than I am with the rent that I would potentially be paying for. But there's so many different ways I'm gaining equity in the house. First of all, my down payment, that is actually goes towards paying down the house. So that is equity right there, but it's out of my pocket. The incentives they're providing for me, that is direct equity. That's paying down the price of the house again. Every payment I make on the house is going to bring the price down, the equity, it's going to create equity and bring the remainder down again. But one factor that we have here in the US with home ownership is you get to deduct the interest on your home. And if you understand how amortization works, when you amortize a loan, in this case, a 30-year loan, the interest is all front-loaded on the loan. What that means is for the first few years especially, the vast majority of your payment is actually going towards interest, and very little of it is going towards the principal itself. In this case, the principal interest is about $1,500 plus change is going towards interest, and just under $400 is going towards principal. Seems kind of crazy, but as you go longer into the loan process, towards the end of the loan, you're actually paying down mostly principal. So in using my tax bracket and the amount of interest I'm paying on it, just looking at some numbers here. So year one, I'm going to pay down my house by $4,027. That's the principal that's going to get paid down. I'm going to pay $19,222 in interest. In my tax bracket, it's 24% is the federal tax rate there. So on $19,000, I'm going to save throughout the year about $4,600 in actual federal income taxes because of the deduction I get for my interest. Now, if you are not itemizing and your interest does not exceed the amount you get to deduct already, that's you may not get to use this, but and I'm going to recommend talking to an accountant. I'm not a CPA, I'm not an accountant. I'm just telling you what I understand to be true. Confirm that with your accountant to make sure that's true. But you get quite a few different ways where you're actually building equity and gaining wealth in your house, especially in that first year. Okay, and so one more big way to gain equity in your house is actually through appreciation. The last couple of years with the low rates, we've seen some pretty crazy appreciation rates as far as, as high as 10, 11, 12% in our market, as high as 20% or more in some other markets I've seen. Now, we've seen a slowdown in the last 6 months or so, and we may see no appreciation this year. We don't know for the next, this last 6 months plus the next 6 months, we don't know. But historically, on average, homes have appreciated by about 4%. So if we just use a historical average, let's say we have a slow year this year, but a really great year the next year, we don't know what it's going to be. But a 4% appreciation based on the purchase price of my house is a $14,320 gain in value. So that is real wealth, real equity being built in my property here. So this year the house is worth $358,000. Next year it's worth over $370,000 just for owning the house and because of inflation and because of just appreciation of the house there. So if I were to go sell the house every year, it's gained value. That is real money in my pocket someday. So. And of course, if you understand how it works with your principal residence, when you sell your house and you gain a profit, you don't have to pay capital gains tax as long as you've had it as your primary residence for 2 years. Again, ask your accountant. I'm not an accountant, but this is the way I understand it. So what that means is going off my list here. So I gain 4% appreciation. That's $14,320. I got the incentive from the builder, $16,000. I'm paying down the principal on my mortgage, $4,027. The tax savings, what I've calculated for myself, is I'll save $4,613. That's a total savings and gaining of equity of $38,960 for the house that I'm buying in my tax bracket the way it works. So if you remember, I put down $17,100 for my down payment. So my investment in the house, all in, is $17,100. My return, based on everything we just talked about, is $38,960. When you run the numbers, it's a 227% rate of return on my interest, on my initial investment. Most people don't see it that way, don't look at those numbers that way, but this is the way it works. This is the way we run numbers for investment properties. I own rentals, and we look at the initial investment. What is the return based on all the factors, not just cash flow, not just appreciation, but all these different factors? What is your money? What are you gaining on your initial investment? So in this case, year one, we're looking at 227% rate of return on my 5% down investment on the property. Year two, it's a little less because we don't get that builder incentive the second year, but I still get the tax savings, I still get the pay down for the mortgage, and I still get the appreciation on the house. And I ran the numbers, and the way it works out is year two, I would be looking at 130% return on the initial investment of my $17,000 for the down payment. So when you look at it this way, it's crazy, and I would be paying rent anyways. So in this case, yes, my mortgage is $100 more per month, but look at all the return I got off this. It's a no-brainer for me. And plus, this house worked out great for me. It meets my needs. It's in a neighborhood I want to be in. It just fits everything for me. So it was a right move for me at the time. So in addition to all the things I just said, this is the part you're going to hate so I'm actually a realtor, and when I buy or sell a home, I get commission on the sale or purchase of the home. In this case, the builder pays my full commission for me, and because I've sold several of their homes this year, I'm also getting an incentive, incentive on top of that. And so the 5% down I'm putting on the house is actually almost completely covered by my commissions, and that's a little perk being a realtor to buy a house. So my actual investment is probably more like $2,000 or $3,000 out of pocket. I didn't run the numbers on that for the return on that, but it makes the numbers look ridiculous, unbelievable. You wouldn't even believe it if I told you. Now, if you're putting, like say you're putting 20% down on a house, you're going to change all these numbers again. I'm calculating this off of a 5% investment on the property. And then on top of that too, the builder threw in a couple perks with some things like the deck and the yard, sprinklers, that kind of thing, which adds value as well. So no brainer. Had to go forward with the purchase of this house here. Again, it fit all of my needs. I actually have one of my best friends from high school lives right down the street. My girlfriend's got one of her good friends lives right behind us. We have kids all over that we know for our kids. So we're a block away from a great new school. Just everything working for us here. So if you ever want to run the numbers like this with me, I'd be happy to do this. I do it all the time for investment properties. It's a little different way of looking at stuff here. You put an investment down and you look at all the incentives of homeownership for building equity and building wealth, and the numbers get crazy. It gets even crazier if you find some way to buy a house with no money down, like through a VA loan, USDA loan. You can do FHA loans where as low as 3.5% down. You can also use first-time home buyer programs. Say in North Dakota, for instance, North Dakota Housing can give you programs with assistance for down payments where you're actually having no money out of pocket. I've seen clients get money back at closing. How do you even calculate the returns on that when you figure out all these things here? There is no number to calculate that return. You're just building wealth. And that's really, in addition to having a stable home and a nice, place to live that you can call your own, you're building wealth, which is, part of why we say homeownership is the American dream. People think it's getting out of hand, out of reach for people. It's not. You can purchase a home with little or no money down. There's lots of ways to purchase houses creatively, especially now with the sellers giving you incentives. Love to sit down and discuss this with you, run some numbers. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, let's do this. See if we can get you into a home in 2023. Thank you so much for checking out my video content today. If you find this information useful, informative, educational, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell if you want to get notifications for new videos. And if you know someone else is looking to buy, sell, or invest who you think would find this information useful, please go ahead and share that with them, send it out to them. I really appreciate your support. And if you want to meet with me, give me a call. Happy to meet up with you. You can give me a call here at 701-793-8543, or just put something in the comments down below, and I'll be glad to meet up with you, grab a cup of coffee, grab lunch, and we can discuss a lot further.